because acting,
yeah.
sure.
Was there some point, though, in your life when you made a conscious effort and said, I don't want to have a Singaporean accent, so I'm going to try to focus more on learning the Western British American accent?
Well, I did not decide that I don't want a specific accent, but rather I wanted to do more.
Right.
And when I wanted to come up with my own, I guess, standards when it comes to speaking English. Not too American, not too British, but, you know, just being articulate and being able to deliver what I'm supposed to say without being totally, you know, not pronouncing the T's or totally articulating the T's or, you know, something like that. So I try to, in order to do that, you need to know all the extreme ends, whether it's in a French accent or an Austrian accent like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come on, kill me now. What are you waiting for?
Pretty good.
Come get me.
Okay.
You know, so I tried experimenting and I tried to stick with what works. And, you know, here I am.
So do you have criticism of other people's poor pronunciation occasionally? Does that bother you when people are pronouncing things?
It's not criticism, but rather, you know, you hear it and it immediately rings a bell because it's your profession. So it's sort of like if you're, if you happen to, you know, maybe clean the floor and you need it shiny and there's a little speck there, you want to clean that.
Right.
So, you know, it can't be helped. You're not going to go like start pointing the finger on that person saying like you're wrong, but you know you're going to feel something's not right and you immediately sense it, probably before anyone else does.
Right. Very interesting. Okay. And so did you have formal training to be a voice actor as well, or was that just in your normal
That's all
acting?
coming from my background as an actor. After 4 years in acting school and after my experience as working for various you know, fields. Usually related with acting and using your voice and delivering a message and communicating with the audience. And of course, I had to do a lot of homework on my own, talking to a lot of my predecessors or seniors or who are active in the field, be it Korean voiceover guys or English narrators. I would, you know, take them out to lunch or try to buy their time. And, you know, those guys are always willing to share the 2 cents, so it was great.
Yeah.
Read a lot of books about it, you know.
You're Sombe, right?
Of course, yes.
Right, very good. Okay, well now it's time for a little insight into your personal life, into something that you treasure very highly. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Star's Treasure. And what do we have here?
It's something very Korean, actually.
Really?
Very small, compact, and it can actually record voices.
Yeah?
It's actually an MP3 player, but there are several with recording functions, and this is one of them. And, you know, the hardest thing is hearing your own voice. And trying to focus on what's wrong or what's right about it. Because you just don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it sounds different than what you thought it sounded like.
That's not how it sounds like in my skull.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like that episode of Friends with smelly cats. But anyway.
Okay, anyway.
So, this is what I got. You could use other devices, but this is really small. And you can record anytime, anywhere. And, yeah.
Is this one of your, does it have sentimental value? Was this one of your first,
This is my first, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is my first, and,
when did you get that?
Several years ago. I really can't remember the exact date.
Okay.
Because these days, who uses these?
MP3
now you only use
players
the, you know, the fruit label.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mention the brand.
It's in your phone quite often.
Usually,
now, right?
yeah. Back then, the phones didn't really have a lot of storage space.
Right.
So you could only do so much. So it was great, great upgrade from the usual cassette players that you used to have, which was clunky and big, and just gradually the tape would like kind of extend.
Sure.
I actually had another treasure that I could bring with me, but I couldn't find it anymore. Maybe it disintegrated into thin air because it's so old.
Okay.
It was a notebook carrying case. When I first bought that notebook, I was kind of concerned that, am I even going to make enough money to pay back what I actually paid for the notebook? For
the notebook computer?
And the case was really cheap because I was trying to, you know, cut all corners, right? And it turned out to be a beautiful carrier with a nice little padding for me to carry on with my hand because it was such a heavy notebook. I couldn't carry it on my back or my shoulders. I would get really cranky by the time I got to the place where I'm supposed to do recording. So in terms of weight, this is fabulous. And yeah, it taught me a lot about what I can and cannot do, my limits, my potential, what I can get to do better. And Yeah, and it actually helped me out when I was trying for other jobs.
Right.
And it reminded me about where I should be, where I belong.
Right.
When I had, other opportunities knock my way, and it's up to you to take it or leave it.
Okay.
And sometimes you're caught between two choices.
Yeah.
Leave behind the people you used to work with, or disappoint the people who is going to hire you next. And this kind of helped me. Sometimes listening to the old recordings about how bad it is sometimes helps, because you know how much better you've gotten from those old days. I don't use this anymore because now I've grown powerful enough to actually do my own little experimental dubbings in my own studios.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you've got much more advanced equipment now.
People with advanced equipment, more,
right.
connections.
Right. Right. But this was how you got started, huh?
Never forget where you came from. This is, I guess, my roots. These are my digital roots.
Okay. Very good. Well, Daniel, it's been great talking to you. We got into mostly about your roots, just like you were saying. 뿌리에 대해서 얘기 많이 했는데 we got to talk about where you came from a lot, and but we didn't end up talking too much about where you're at now and where you're planning on going. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we saved that for the next episode of Star English. Thanks for joining us this time, Daniel, and we'll be back with you again next week, right?
Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
Yes, we'll see you soon. Wave. Bye-bye to everybody with us. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Well, today we got to have our first meeting with Che Jin-wan, a guy who's done some voice acting, some announcing, and he's done a little acting on the screen as well. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to our next meeting with Mr. Che, where we're going to learn a little bit more about his career and his future plans. Thank you all for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Star English. Bye-bye, everybody.